is Jim Lin. The title of his speech is Searching for My Identity as an Asian American. It's 6 to 8 minutes. Searching for My Identity as an Asian American. Jim Lin.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Hello, my name is Jim Lin. I'm a retired math professor from the University of California in San Diego. In 1986, I veered off from being a math professor and decided to teach the very first course in Asian American Studies at UCSD. Not only did I teach it, but within 2 years I obtained academic senate approval for a minor. So nowadays, over 1,000 students every year take courses in Asian American Studies. So many people have asked me, why did you do that? You know, you were a very successful math professor. I was a full professor at the time. I had PhD students. I was very successful in my teaching. Why did you decide to do this career shift and teach a course in the humanities, given that your training is in mathematics? And actually, this afternoon, I'm going to be interviewed to answer that question. So, actually, back then, I had a secret inner struggle that was going on that I hadn't revealed to anyone. What I wondered about was, as an Asian American, who was I? Where did I belong in American society? And this really lingered. I was 37 at the time. Most people figure out their identity much earlier than this. But I decided I'm going to teach this course as a search for my identity. And so my math colleagues didn't understand this. I didn't tell them. I kept it secret. So in the morning I would teach my math courses and supervise my PhD students. In the afternoon I teach Asian American Studies to search for my identity. When you look at identity development, psychologists will say the three main things that people do is they do a lot of exploring and reflection. A lot of them are influenced by role models that they might have. And of course, there's family values, what they experience in the family. I adopted the American values of freedom, equality, and justice. Those were firmly seated. But I also wanted to honor my Chinese values. My parents were immigrants from China, and they suffered greatly. Before I was born, and my dad told me the story of how they came to this country. Tremendous suffering, tremendous sacrifice, all to give a better opportunity for me, their very first American-born son. So when my father asked me, when I was in second grade, would you be willing to study math for 4 hours a day? I agreed, because that was my way, my opportunity to honor my father and my mother and show that I loved them. Well, I didn't realize that would also isolate me from my peers and stifle my identity development. So when you think about studying math for 4 hours a day, what does that amount to? Well, I didn't have to do this during the weekends, but it amounts to about 1,000 hours a year. And so I did this from second grade, from age 7 to age 15. That's 8 years. I had studied 8,000 hours of math. And so later on, at the age of 24, I would solve an outstanding math problem that hadn't been solved in 20 years. And with that, I would get an offer of an assistant professorship at UCSD. So I had fulfilled my father's dream that I would have a successful career. But those 8,000 hours were the same 8,000 hours my friends and colleagues spent determining their identity, bonding with friends, going to football games. I missed out on all of that. And so there was a cost to this. So that's why I ended up teaching Asian American Studies. I have a private joke. I call myself the secret Asian man. Because totally unbeknownst to most of my friends, in the morning I taught math. In the afternoon, the entire math faculty didn't know about it. I taught Asian American Studies, searching for my identity. So there would be many benefits from this. It's not all bad. For many years, I wondered, why the hell did my dad make me do this? There are a lot of benefits. If you isolate yourself for 8,000 hours, you have no math instruction. You have to learn math on your own. You develop a sense of patience. You know, like, oh, I can't figure this out today. Maybe I'll figure it out tomorrow. And so I had that patience, and I had my students, when I started teaching, I saw the students so frustrated about math. They couldn't get the problem. But I had the ability to be patient around them. And with that patience, I get the outstanding teaching award at UCSD. The rest of my colleagues were math whiz kids. You know, as a faculty, they couldn't stand it. How come you're not getting this concept? But I had that patience. I also developed persistence, because in order to be by yourself, totally isolated for 8,000 hours, you develop a sense of, I'm just going to keep driving, I'm going to keep driving at this problem. And so I had less of a fear of failure than most people have. So all this had its major benefits. When I taught Asian American Studies, I would find out about the psychologist, Daryl Sue, who talked about identity development. And he would explain, I'm not alone in this, that most Asian Americans are also take a much longer time to search for the identity. So because I was 37 when I started to really search for it, I realized, okay, I'm not by myself. Also, teaching Asian American Studies created a lot of role models for me that I didn't know existed. So that was a big benefit. And again, I had sort of navigated the dual heritage of the Chinese cultural values as well as American values. And I learned much more about my identity. And this journey shaped my identity and also enriched the tapestry of the many life experiences that define me today. Mr. Sokol.